Thanks for checking out the Freeform podcast. On this episode, we're going to be diving deeper into the art of momentum, and we're going to talk about two more elements, the cart and the brakes. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Freeform podcast, where we are all about helping you dream bigger, dream better, and dream more often. I am your host, Efa Mboto, and again, I am excited about this episode. And I want to say a special thank you to our sponsor for this episode, Dunder Mifflin Paper Company. I'm just kidding. We are not sponsored by anybody as of yet. If you're looking to sponsor us, just reach out to us. We'd love to have you sponsor. Anyways, in this episode, we're going to be diving deeper into the art of momentum. It is a free ebook that I wrote. You can download it from my website, efamboto.com. It is a great resource. It's helping a lot of people gain, maintain, and constrain momentum in their lives, in their personal lives, in their business endeavors, really just in any dream that they're having or anything that they're wanting to do. All right, let's get into it. So if you haven't listened to the previous episodes, you're going to want to go back and listen to the other episodes that kind of lay out what we're talking about. So we're going to dive into two more elements about the art of momentum. I'm going to get a little unconventional because this is not the way it's really laid out. So today we're going to talk about the cart and the brakes. Now, the reason why I'm talking about the cart and the brakes together and not the cart and the chain, which would be the next one in the actual process, is because the chain and the harness, when we get to those, are going to be episodes in and of themselves because there's just so much that I want to talk about there. So you're going to make sure you listen to the next episode because that's going to be about the chain, and then the following one will be about the harness. But yeah, so let's talk about the cart and the brakes, right? So as I mentioned in the earlier podcast, so if you haven't listened to it, you want to go back and understand it. But the cart is really where the riders are placed. And the reason why the cart is really important is because people have to know where they sit. They have to know where they sit on the ride. You know, like if you're asking riders to ride with you, where am I going to sit? Where do I sit? Why do I sit there? These are all questions that you want to either help them answer or that they might have answers for themselves. If you're anything like me, again, I'm sitting in the front. I don't care how much longer I have to wait to get in the front. I'm going to wait and I'm going to sit in the front because I like to enjoy the roller coaster when I can see what's coming ahead of me. When I can't see it without any kind of obstructions, I just don't enjoy them as well. Now, call me spoiled, call me whatever. I literally wait on roller coasters to sit in the front. I don't like sitting in rear coasters. I don't like sitting on the backs of rides unless it was designed for that. There was this one ride that I rode one time, and it was actually designed to where it took you out this is a little bit of a tangent, but whatever. It took you out and you thought you were going one way on the track, and then it literally turned around and went backwards. So the whole time you were backwards on the ride, like you couldn't see what was coming. And so it didn't matter where I sat on that ride because no matter what, I couldn't see what was happening. And let me tell you, it was amazing. It was amazing because I couldn't see what was happening and I knew nobody else could see what was happening either. So I didn't feel like I was slighted. However, that's besides the point. Okay, getting back to the point. The cart is really important for the riders to know where they sit. Now, if your idea is in business or if this is in life in general, people need to know where they fit into your life or into your track. They need to know where they fit. Are they going to sit with you in the same cart? Are they going to be in the front? Are they going to be behind that? Are they going to be in the back? And again, this doesn't mean that those people are any less than or they have different access or anything like that. This is just a positional thing of going, where do you sit? Where will you enjoy this ride the most? Now, if we're taking this into a business context, what we're talking about here is developing departments or developing different parts of your organization or putting people into the different roles or functions that are going to best fit for them. So that way you know and they know that they will enjoy the ride. Now, in order to know how people fit, you have to understand more about the riders that are with you. So, connecting the riders and the cart for a moment, you need to understand the riders better in order to understand how they will enjoy the track better. This is a great time for you to not just define those departments and define those roles, but also figure out what type of rider fits best for that role. Let's take sales, for instance. A lot of salespeople that are not inside sales, but outside sales, salespeople who are going out and meeting with people, they're not really successful if they're introverted. This is not to say that you can't be successful in sales if you're introverted, but it's a lot harder when your job function depends on you being able to be the one who starts or initiates the conversation. So there's nothing wrong with looking at somebody who might be an introvert and saying, hey, you know what? Outside sales is not the best role for you. But that same introverted person could be great at sales. They just might need to do inside sales. Again, semantics, this might not be important to you because you might not be building a business where you're going to have a sales team or have a dream where you're going to have a sales team, but this is just a way to think about it. When you start to understand the riders and you start to understand what riders fit best with what carts or what roles fit with what best with what carts, then you can start to position the people who are around you for maximum potential. You want everybody who's with you to ride in the right cart so that way they can experience the best ride possible. The ride is all about maximizing not just your potential and your momentum, but letting other people maximize theirs too. The more that they're maximizing their potential, the more momentum you're going to find, the more you're going to build up. So putting people in the right carts is massively important. So take time to define those carts, figure out what they are, figure out what the different job roles or job descriptions are going to be, the different departments that you might have. If we're talking about business, if we're talking about life, you just have to segment your life. You got to go, these are my acquaintances, these are my friends, these are my close friends, and what does it take or what do you need to have in order to be there, right? And you could do this with any aspect of your life where you start to build out those carts and go, okay, you are going to fit here because this is how you're going to enjoy this the best. You're going to notice there's going to be people who are going to be in your life who, if you're just taking it from a relational standpoint, they don't fit in the front cart, right? They're just not that close friend, and they're not going to be, whether that's because of proximity or because you enjoy different things or whatever the case may be. You're going to realize, oh, you know what? I can't put that person in the front cart with me because it just doesn't fit for them. They're not going to enjoy this ride. And there's so many people that I've seen and that I've met who are experiencing, very frustrating relationships because they're going, man, this person just seems like they're not getting it or they're not enjoying it. And I look at them and I go, it's because you have them on the wrong cart. You have them in the wrong place. And so you kind of have to really know where people sit and where they fit in your life in order to really have them, experience the maximized potential. Sorry, I'm having a little bit malfunction here. Now we're going to talk about the breaks. The breaks are meaningful, intentional pauses. Why do I need pauses if I'm trying to build momentum? That's a very great question. You need to every once in a while slow down the cart that you're in so that it doesn't go flying off the track. This is a very common thing, okay? This is not uncommon, and this is not an unknown thing. Any train builder will tell you, or any roller coaster builder will tell you, if you don't constrain the speed, the momentum of that ride, it will fly off the tracks. It is designed a specific way, and it's designed to go a specific speed. Now, here's something that you should really consider. And a lot of people don't consider this. If there's only one or two people on the ride in the carts, guess how much brake you need to slow that thing down? Not that much. If the whole thing is to maximum capacity, fully filled out, you're going to need stronger and more brakes. So the larger something gets, the bigger you get, the further you go, the deeper you dive into this thing, the more pauses you're going to have to have. Now, these pauses could look like different things. Again, if we're taking it in a business context, we're talking about meetings. Ooh. Did you feel that? Man, I know a lot of people out there just felt that. I just said the forbidden word, meetings. Yes, meetings. The bigger you are, the more meetings you need to have. The smaller you are, meetings are still important. You don't have to have as many of them, but you still need to have them. Okay? Now, these again are intentional pauses. This is just one way to intentionally pause. These are intentional pauses that you're taking to build that momentum. You need the pauses. You need the breaks. Now, this isn't always meetings. One way that I intentionally pause every day, or I try to do this every day. I don't actually do this every day, but I try to do this every day. When I get into the office or when I wake up, I make a to-do list for that day. I try to get what's in here out of here and put it into a list on a piece of paper so that way I can keep track and know what I'm supposed to do. That is an intentional pause. I am a go, executor. Like I just want to do. But by me taking those 5 minutes, sometimes it's a little bit longer because my mind's a little scattered sometimes. But by me taking those 5, 6, 7 minutes to spend time and actually think about what I want to do, write it down and put it and prioritize it, I'm actually taking an intentional pause. I'm slowing down, which is actually going to build momentum for that day. I am able to maximize my day because I have a centralized focus now because I took an intentional pause. I put on the brakes. Now, meetings, taking meaningful moments out to do a to-do list. You can also do what I've seen a lot of people doing lately, which is really great. You can do a grateful list at the end of the day or a thankful list. What did I accomplish today? Any way that you can slow down intentionally every once in a while to just figure out like, man, what's really happening? Look at what's going on around you. Really take those moments to just pause, reflect, refocus, reinforce. These are the things you're going to be able to do when you take those meaningful pauses. There's other ways to do this. In personal life, like I've already said, you can do the to-do list in personal life. You can look at your day if you're a stay-at-home mom or if you're, a fitness instructor or if you're a writer or you're a teacher. You can do a to-do list. You can look at your day and go, what do I need to do today? Take that 5 minutes and just intentionally pause. Just slow down for just a little bit. And you're going to see that in those breaks, by pumping those brakes every once in a while, you're going to build momentum. Now, let's bring this back to a business context. If you have a business and you're not meeting daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly with your team, and I'm not talking about one meeting that you say, oh, I met this week, and that was also a day, and that was also this month. Like, it doesn't work like that, okay? If you don't have these different checkpoints, depending on what size your business is, okay? So let's bring that back. Depending on how big your business is, depends on how many of these you need to have. But if you don't have these intentional, meaningful pauses, you will find yourself losing momentum because you're either going to fly off the tracks or you're not going to be slowing down enough to really know where that next climb is coming or to really lock into those chains really well so that way you can actually get up that next hill. You need the pauses, okay? Everybody needs the pauses. Whether you're just dreaming about stuff or you're actually executing on them, just pause. Pause for a little bit. Look at everything you have going on. Look at what you've been doing. Look at what you've accomplished. Reflect so that way you can refocus, you can revisit, and you can reinforce. All right? So that's what we talked about today. We talked about the cart, and we talked about the brakes. If you need any help defining carts, maybe you're like, man, I've had this business for so long, or I've been in this thing, or I have this idea, or how do I compartmentalize my personal life? Like, how do I know who's an acquaintance versus who's of this or who's of that? Listen, I work with people and I work with teams, and I do this. I help people understand these different aspects and elements. So if you need help defining your carts, or installing the brakes, if you will, if you don't have any brakes, or just knowing when to take those brakes, reach out to us. We'd love to help you. And again, if you haven't yet read The Art of Momentum, it's a free resource. It's really helping people out. You could download it from the website. It's effaimboto.com, and we would love for you to read it, and we would love for you to start gaining, maintaining, and constraining momentum in your life. Thanks for tuning into this podcast. Remember, dream bigger, dream better, and dream more often. Why? Because the sum total of the lives that we live is made up in dreams realized. Again, I'm Effa Mboto, your host for the Freeform Podcast. Hope that you enjoyed this episode. And would you do me a favor? If you did enjoy this episode, would you just subscribe? Hit that subscribe button. And then also, if you feel like this content is meaningful for somebody else, if you feel like there's somebody else who really needs to hear what we're sharing, would you just, share this with them? You could also rate this podcast wherever you're consuming this content. You could rate it. That would also help us get the word out and helps us reach more people. It's really my heart to help people dream bigger, dream better, and dream more often. Again, because we just live in a world of dreams realized. So, Effa Mboto, Freeform Podcast. I'll see you in the next one.